Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, what's up?
I've got some input I need to give to you guys from the emails about the show, and the input is that Wyatt should have his Wyatt segment shouldn't be called "Do a Joke." It should have its own special name.
Would you rather's with Wyatt? Wyatt, would you rather's? Would you Wyatt?
Would you Wyatt? Would you Wyatt?
What should it be called?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll keep you guessing. When I bring you in, I'll pick one of those 8 we just threw out, and we'll see.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to the emails and see if our emailer approves.
It might not have been email. There was an email about something similar, but it was not an email. It was just a suggestion. Anyways.
All right.
That's feedback from, the streets.
All right. I'm making the note right now. I'm putting it on my list of notes.
Oh, shit. You got a Post-it pad there?
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Got it. So, Haspil, busy, back in the grind. Miss him. He's out there busting his ass. But since we last talked, I don't think a whole lot has occurred in the scene. A few things have come up with the Dark Angels. A couple of interesting observations with Mortarion. Observations with the app. Hey, there was a tournament over the weekend that had like 12 players in it, which is like the most in a physical tournament over the last week. So that's pretty fucking big deal. Got some results from that.
Who knew we'd ever be talking about 12-player events with such rigor?
Yeah. It's fucking exciting as a motherfucker.
Kind of is, to be honest.
Yeah. Makes me happy to hear. But since we don't have Haspil here, we don't have Haspil's Corner, but we will have this tournament coverage, which we haven't done that in a while.
Wyatt's Wonderland.
No. Maybe.
It's a working title.
Maybe. That's kind of the more I think of it, the more I'm enjoying that as a title. So we'll start it with
Wonders.
We'll start. Oh my God, that's the best one. God, Wyatt, we're so good with so many things. All right, here we go. Before we do anything, we're gonna go into Wyatt's Cave of Wonders for Would You Rather.
Yeah. Touch only the lamp.
Cave of Wonders? Oh, wow.
Would you rather
I want to
be the clown who distracts the bull or the cowboy who has to ride the bull?
Oh,
wait, don't they?
Those both suck bad.
Wait, isn't that just like you just got to stay on there for like 8 seconds, right?
Yeah, but then you have to get off, and then you're in a ring with a bull.
And the way
Kind of mad at you.
and
They stop him.
No, usually you
Have
get.
you seen a rodeo?
Have you been to a rodeo? You realize that this bull, which weighs like, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 pounds or some shit. I don't know how much bulls weigh because
It was a car.
they're bigger than cars. Is going absolutely fucking sick house, trying to fucking eject your ass from its back.
Is that because the rope you're holding on to is around his balls?
No.
It's around
Are you
like
sure?
their sternum.
I am quite confident I have never seen a rope tied securely to a bull's penis or balls in this context. But
So I will say that what you're probably thinking of is way back in the day, to make the bulls extra angry, they used to tie a rubber band or a rope around their testicles, and it hurt, and they get really upset and they get really ornery. But I do not believe they do that anymore because it's considered like cruel and unusual.
I mean, I can't think of a cooler and more unusual fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
No, they just breed bulls that are like extra fucking pissy. No, like that's the thing.
This bull is going to try to eject
him more angry.
So so you have to understand that, like, are you just innately dope at riding bulls that you think you could? Because some dudes are so clutch at this that they ride the bull all the way out, and then like that it never ejects them, and then they're just like, yeah, what's up? I run this game. But the high score is also based on like how gangster the bull goes, right? So like if you get a bull that just doesn't go that sick house on your ass and you make your 8 seconds, like you might not get a dope score. So like there is a chance you get one of those bulls. So I'm going to ask the Dijin, is it one of those bulls or is it random or is it the worst kind of bull?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I would say that it's that one bull that's like was really famous when I was a kid, but I can't for the life of me remember which one it was called. But yeah, assume it's like, you know,
standard rodeo chance.
Yeah, like it's a pretty spicy bull.
Likely to be spicy, but it might not be. There's a small chance.
I mean, I don't think they have any non-spicy bulls at the rodeo. They're kind of all, you know, real.
They're all bigger than fucking cars, Rob.
No, they are.
I'm riding the bull though. I'm riding that fucking bull. I'm gonna die either way. There's no way around it. So I have a feeling that like I'm not like totally engrossed in like rodeo culture, but I feel like clowns are at the bottom of the totem pole. And the guys who ride the bulls are at the top. So if I'm going to go out that day, at least I'm going to go out on top.
I don't know. There's a special relationship because like, you know, their job is to distract the bull to make sure that it
guy who cleans up the bull poop is at the bottom. Got it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Who is more beloved by the crowd?
Oh, the chat. It was called Bodacious. That was the bull. That was like the big one who was real nasty. He was like the Mike Tyson of bulls.
Yeah, Quinn's like if the bull's name is Hurricane or Dick Stomper, stay away.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah, Rob's gonna get on this bull and he's like, all right, this isn't gonna be so bad. They're like, and here up next, Rob Baer riding the famous Dick Stomper, and you're like, I'm fucking done.
I knew I fucked up.
Yeah, freeze frame on Rob, slow mo, push in. At this moment, Rob Baer knew he had fucked up.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. The clowns seem to they know how to like distract them and then not get gored. So
yeah, that's their thing. Like they're supposed to sort of like they're supposed to distract it because the bulls like part of their animal instincts is like if they can't see something that's like kind of underneath them because they don't have good peripheral vision is they try to like stomp it. So if you fall off, then its instinct is to like stomp on you. And so the clowns, their job is to like kind of herd the bull away from the rider once he falls off and make sure that it doesn't like go after
him. And I want you to hear that last part, Rob. Like once you fall off, like so you are going to fall off this fucking bull.
Nah, I think I just do the clown because you're already off. You know, you're probably good at what you do. They probably have body armor. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, yeah. I mean, all the cowboys wear like Kevlar vests and shit now.
Okay, so I'm gonna ride the bull, and you're gonna be the clown. Just don't Dijin us into the same situation.
Oh yeah,
just don't.
That'd be a good one.
Don't make me have Rob as my fucking day one clown.
Yeah, that'd be fine. It would be like a training day. Smoke this crack.
A good bull.
Let's ride this bull.
Azrael says, a good bull will eject the rider every single time. How long it takes is up to the rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be my only move, though. Like, you know, when the clown dives into the barrel because he's about to get killed, that's going to be, like, my only fucking move. But I want to put it in perspective. Me diving into a barrel is also likely to hurt me really bad. Mm-hmm. Like, if the Dijin was like, yo, right now, you're a fucking radio clown, no training. I'll dive into that barrel, I'm probably going to get a concussion, bro. There's no way I'm getting out of this unhurt. And knowing this asshole, I'm like, okay, I'm the only like kind of untrained clown here. I think I could just kind of like work with the other clowns. Knowing him, it's going to be an alternate reality of all the clowns are people who chose what I chose, and all the writers are going to be people who chose what the other guy chose. It's going to be just the worst.
It's fine. That's a good one.
I'm going to ride Dick Stomper.
No, it's Bodacious. Gotta ride Bodacious.
What if the bull's name was Violent J?
What's the most famous clown?
That's the worst one. Violent J.
Most famous clown?
His name is Violent J.
Murder bitch.
I think Shaq's too dope, and Violent J probably have more fucking clout with pop culture than any other clown in history.
That's true.
So if my bull or fucking rodeo clown is named Violent J, I'm going to be a little more nervous. I'm not going to lie. Neither of those are good for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for this journey and quest into the Cave of Wonders.
Yep.
Juggalo.
Many treasures down there.
So good.
Rob, you want to do some news for us? Back from the memorial desk, Rob Baer.
Rob's Wonderland news edition. My news is a Wonderland. I don't know. I got it. It's a working title.
Anyway,
come back to me. I can do better. So we do have some GW releases going on pre-order this weekend. If you're into Age of Sigmar and Hedonites Slaanesh, those are the mortal Slaanesh duders and ladies, I guess. Those will be going on pre-order. So first up, we got the Myrmidon Painbringers. That's a 5-model kit for $60. I think there's another one they make too. All these kits make like 2 different things for the infantry. Bliss Barb Archers. Those models actually look pretty cool in my opinion. I don't know if y'all have seen them, but they're crazy angle shooting stuff and
Googling them now.
They look pretty dope. Those are $50. That's a 10 model kit. And then Glutis or Scalon, something like that. The Lord of Gluttony. That's that big dude on the chariot. It's getting carried by like Slaaneshi demon spawn things, just eating everything he can. Is 115. There's also, I don't know
the equivalent of the Slaaneshi Prius.
Yeah, basically.
Is he Dirty Mike on his throne?
Wait,
he is.
What's this model's name?
Just look up Lord of Gluttony, I guess. This model looks to be on 170 millimeter oval, like a night base. So it's fairly chonky.
Oh, yeah. This thing is crazy.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on with that. Like, it's definitely a centerpiece model, $115. Then there's the new mounts, which are called the Slickback Seekers. Those are $65. And Sigvald, the Princess Slaanesh, for $55. So kind of Guilliman pricing.
Cheaper than I thought it would be, actually.
I was kind of thinking like 60, 65-ish.
I mean, I was expecting like 70, to be honest.
What's Guilliman go for? I have to look that up.
I don't know.
And then, of course, you got the new Slangors. I think it's a 3-pack for $50. And the Lord of Pain, which was in the 2 army box recently. I think that was November. So now he's out by himself for $30 as well. And then you get the Battle Tims for $40, the War Scroll cards for $25, set of dice for $35, and also the Daughters of Cain are getting a Battle Tome update book as well for $40. And also a set of dice that are kind of orangish, red color. It reminds me of, what was it Blood Angels red? The red with the screw pot. It was like more of an orange red.
Most GW Blood Red is like that.
Yeah. They look just like that. And those are $35 US. And then, of course, they're getting Endless Spells as well, which is a $35 box kit. So all that will go on pre-order this Saturday.
Oh, that's dope. This Sigvald. I'm not gonna recycle the joke from the After Hours.
The Guild.
But there's a good joke. Maybe poorly timed. Doesn't land that well, but it's tucked in there. After Hours content. So check that out.
If Haspil was here, he would probably mention that Mass Effect Legendary Edition will be on sale May 14th. So,
is that like all the Mass Effect games in one? What is that?
Yeah, remastered.
It's remastered.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, and 3 remastered.
It looks good,
and all the DLC too. So it's going to be like it's a shit ton of content.
Yeah,
like on Steam. Where do I get that?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah.
Heresy Lab has their Witchfire and Shadows, I think it's called. Kickstarter up right now. That's basically the citizens, the NPCs. If you need a bunch of NPC characters, you want to print them out, or you want to get the resin versions, they're up right now. I think they funded in like 30 minutes or something crazy. So check that one out. We didn't talk about this either, but Monument's Mother Lovin' paint along thing this spring. They have those 2 new miniatures, Bingo and Ilthur, I think it's called, the Doom of Jetta. So you can buy those and paint along with your favorite streamer.
Pretty sick promotions, some sick new minis. That they're finally moving into doing some joint promotions with models in addition to hobby supplies and the most prolific paints on the market.
They are pretty fresh for sure. And it looks like Cromlech is coming out with their first new releases of the year. They're Sons of Thor, not Space Wolves, but Primaire scale. And there is a ton of different options. I think the bodies run for 15 euros for a pack of those. And then you can get shoulder pads, different weapons, all sorts of stuff. And of course, they announced they have a bunch of Necron stuff coming out as well next month. So that'll be pretty dope. And they're already posting up concept sketch stuff for orc stuff later in the year as well. So there's definitely going to be a Orktober 2021.
I can't wait.
Don't know what it's all going to be, but
Gonna be fucking hype.
yeah, definitely going to be hype. Now, I had a chance to get the new Space Marine releases over the weekend and get them all unboxed and built, including the speeder that Wyatt was talking about. And I got to admit, I was really impressed with the new Blade Guard, the new Eradicators, and also the speeder itself. They're just, GW did a really good job with those kits. Like, they're very dynamically posed. It's very hard to tell them apart from the ETB models because the ETB models are so dynamically posed too. Obviously, with the Eradicators, you have a couple different options. Like the Heavy Meltas you can use the power feed wires, which they don't have for the Indominus ones. The Blade Guard, I think, are my favorite because there's so many options. Like, you can have dudes with guns, like James Bond style, just like ready to go. You know, swords, the storm shields like lock into their backpacks, or you can, or they can be holding them. It's just, the kits are very well thought out and very well done. And I was pretty impressed with them, to be honest. Like,
it always reminds me, it's like, no matter all the junk we talk on GW, it's because we love them. They make the sickest models in the game. You know, like every time we get a kit like this, you're just reminded of like the technology that has gone into these plastics, man. Especially just having looked at those AOS minis that just dropped. Crazy. So good job, GW. And I'm sure that's not the end of our GW positive negative sandwich we're going to paint today.
No, well, you know, I did want to talk about the app. We talk about the app a lot, but there always seems to be new news with the app. So it's worth mentioning. So GW put out a final update. Well, the final update to put it out of beta status over the weekend, which was cool because now it's, you know, supposedly fully functional, and they're still asking everybody for, you know, their input and to report bugs and such and things like that. But the one thing that got me about it was they're like, it's got a new lower price, guys. And I was like, wait, what? That was what I read. I was like, did GW just say that they lowered the price on something?
To put that in perspective, why Rob had a literal fucking shit fit when he heard that is because GW doesn't do that. They don't ever discount prices. They add value to prices, right? Like, so when you see like one of these box set and you read a Spiky Bits article and they tell you what the savings are, that's not a discount. It's a completely different strategy in the market. They're not saying like you can buy these models at this price. They're saying if you give us $300 fucking dollars, you're going to get this much value for your dollars. Them straight up saying we're slashing prices. That is not done in their business model.
No.
That's a discount. That's different.
And let's be honest. The only reason traditionally you lower prices on something is because it's not selling. So just keep that in mind. So voting with your hobby dollars, it's
and because it's not a product they have on a shelf. When they have products on shelves that aren't selling, they can tweak the rules to sell them. They can put them in those bundles to sell them. Mm-hmm. They can bring them back for a Christmas edition. With, you know, they can do all sorts of things. When it comes to like this app, that there's no other fucking way to get but to give them money for, and no one cares anymore. They've lowered the price.
See, I think it's this weird thing where like there's already alternatives to it that have been around for a while, like Battlescribe, And so I would venture to say there's probably quite a large number of people in our community that are kind of taking the same stance as myself, where it's like, I have Battlescribe, and I don't want to pay for this app until it's like good to go, until it's, all the bugs have been worked out, until it's, because it's still in beta, right? Like this is an open beta test, basically. Like you're paying.
Supposedly it's not anymore.
If it still has bugs and we're talking about it every week, it sounds like a beta to me. So maybe that's what they're trying to incentivize, is because not enough people are jumping into it, because they're sort of taking the wait and see approach until it gets to that final form. But yeah, I'm still in the same boat. Like until it's fully functioning and we don't talk about it every week with this problem and that problem and all that type of stuff, like I'm not paying for it.
So some people in chat were talking about the price. I think there was a bit of confusion when GW put that article out, because they put it out that it was down to $199 Great Britain pounds. They didn't put the American price in there. They didn't put any of the prices in there. Besides that, they said or local equivalent. Of course, I ran right over to my Warhammer and I was like, yo, let me log in and see how much it is. $4.99 still. That's weird. They said they lowered it. Well, guess definitely not going to buy it and check it out. And then I wrote up a post about all this that we just talked about. Of course, I ran over there to check it just to be thorough, and it had reflected that it had gone down. So somewhere at some point, they actually realized that they didn't change it on their site. They changed it down to the $299. It is $299 now in the US. So, and supposedly it is out of beta. What happens next? Well, I guess we'll all find out together. But it's been an adventure. And
I'm currently messing with it. That's why I'm so quiet.
I assumed you were. Yeah,
I'm fucking with it. Just let you know.
See, my thing is, I think this whole, we're 8 months in. We were promised a finished product in, of course, July, but it should have been June was when all this was supposed to come out. I have 2 rules of thumb there. Like, obviously voting with your hobby dollars is valid. If it's a value to you, then yeah, by all means get it. Like, if it works for you, it works for you. And there's no substitute for that. But if you can look at it objectively and be like, hey, do I feel there's value in this product? Yes or no? If it's no, then don't buy it. Like that. And I think that's the only way we're ever going to see change across the board from any of these companies, regardless if it's GW or not. Now, I think in the future, perhaps maybe they could have some sort of play tester, not the play testers they use for rules, but maybe they could have some sort of like bug play testers, you know what I'm saying, that could work on these things. So maybe next time they're going to come out with some big development or big app, it doesn't take 8 months worth of crowdsourcing to figure it all out, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that'd be more than willing to do it, just kind of fiddle on their phones every, during the lunch break or while they're pooping and give GW some valuable feedback. I feel like where we are right now could be a learning experience for all of us. A, vote with your hobby dollars. B, GW, get some play beta testers. And, maybe we can avoid this sort of situation in the future.
I'll tell you what, it's still doing this thing I noticed that I hated last week. That was straight pissing me off. So I pick a Plague Marine squad, right? And I'm like, okay, 5 guys. I'm going to loadout. Let me give a guy a flail. All right, give him a flail. Go back. Oh, I see that you have that. Give him a flail. Cool. Go back. Do it like 50 times in a row. And it's like, you got to pick 2 weapons. It's like, yeah, I did. It's Plague Knife and Plague Flail because I can't have a bolter. I replaced my bolter. And it's like, it won't acknowledge the fact that I have a Plague Flail until like I break the rules of the list and give him a bolter and a Plague Flail. And so it's like, so now my points are right, but my loadout is incorrect.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff.
So that took 2 seconds to like, okay, still paying for this. So good job, GW.
I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it, but it's good to see that, maybe you'll have the functionality we all needed going forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like a lot of little things in here that are still not perfect. And so we literally can't even trust it for a tournament because of that.
I mean, technically, you can't trust Battlescribe either.
That's a very good point.
I mean, to be honest, like when the Death Guard Codex came out, like I was not using Battlescribe to make lists. Neither were you, right? And I think it's pretty good practice whenever you get your book, because you have that weird like week to 2 week waiting time after a book releases before it's up on Battlescribe, and then you have like an indeterminate amount of time afterwards where they might need to work out some coding errors. I just make like spreadsheets to do all of my list building like that, and then on top of that, that helps you memorize certain things. Like it helps you memorize loadouts, helps you memorize point values and things like that. So that way, if you are in that situation where you're making a Battlescribe list, rather than totally relying on it and then being told by somebody else after the fact, like, hey, your list is invalid, then like you will see the problems with the app itself and be able to edit those before submitting your list.
Agreed. I mean, I am so for $2.99 or whatever, I am pretty happy being able to like look at rules. I guess if all they did was give me an a la carte feature like we've been talking about, then I'm like, okay, so I can buy codexes a la carte and you're charging me a GW premium. All right. But the big sell is still like the army builder. And they just announced it's out of beta, and like I just showed that there's still an error in the Death Guard. Like I can't pick a flail and a blade knife. I have to illegally pick a flail and a bolter. So it's like, so that's the negative positive, right?
Yeah.
Great models, guys.
Still made great minis.
Great fucking minis. Great job. Good job. You lowered the price because you realized it wasn't that great. Still some work to do, guys.
There's always room for improvement in all things.
Hey, that's the fucking truth. So if that's the end of your app talk, then let's go. Let's talk about that RTT you covered over the weekend. That cool place in Atlanta.
I think it's Georgia somewhere.
Somewhere.
I'm actually not sure exactly where.
If it's the same one I was going to go to before the end of the year, it's actually in Augusta, I think is what it said.
Oh, okay. Damn, I could have gone to that.
I've driven through that several times.
Yeah, see, so the reason I didn't go is because me and my buddy were going to drive out there, and then he had to cancel because I think the way we had to fly in, if you're going to fly,
it's in Albany.
Albany. Okay, yeah. So you had to fly to like Tallahassee in Florida and then like drive over there. And so it's like, for me, I can't do that because they don't make rental cars with hand controls. So I didn't go, but they've been having a couple of events since the start of the year.
So
that's cool.
Pretty interesting.
Fly a base.
It's a 12-man road trader tournament.
Yeah.
Which is not that many, but hey, it's enough to get excited about right now.
It's like the backbone of the ITC right there, man.
Yeah.
If we didn't have RTTs, there'd be.
Yeah, that was the biggest event that happened that week, Rob said, right?
I think there was a 16-man.
But you said that was online, right?
Yeah, I forget, man.
Well,
sounds about right. This
one's interesting because that's in a region where some serious players exist. So, and it had some draw and it had some promotion. So there was a couple people there. One name, at least I recognize. I recognize Teddy's name, Teddy Woody, friend of mine. He plays hard, but there is a top 3 list and some spotlight stuff. So, Wyatt, let's talk about the winning list, that Necron list.
Yeah, so Necrons have been doing pretty well from what I've been seeing. Like, there's been sporadic RTTs, GTs, kind of starting in the fall of last year, going into current times now. And Necrons have been picking up pace. Like, they're a really cool faction in 9th. Their one downside is they're hard to pilot. It's a very cerebral faction. It's not. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not as easy to pilot as something like Space Marines, right? But this is really interesting because a lot of Necron players are like, do I want to bring, the Void Dragon, or do I want to bring the Nightbringer, or what? Because like I don't have like enough points for like multiples. Like, well, cool thing about this list is he was like, fuck that, I'm taking the Void Dragon and the Silent King. So he's got like 2 big boys in this list. And so let's break it down. He's got Mephrit Dynasty with some Crypto Thralls, a Command Barge, Royal Warden, Technomancer, bunch of Necron Warriors. He's got that Void Dragon, unit of Tomb Blades, and the Silent King coming in there. So lots of anti-infantry shooting from the Warriors, and he's got some dope character models that do what they do, and he's got 2 big badasses that are just going to wreck stuff. Like, these guys are the vehicle fun police.
2 nasty beatdown artists and a bunch of quick moving, objective securing elements of his army that also dispense volume of fire. So that's pretty spicy. I respect the play.
Oh, so he had one other unit. He brought some Praetorians as well.
Fuck yeah! No, I respect it.
It's a really solid.
It's a tidy list. I like the tidiness of it.
Off the top of your head, what Mephrit does?
Mephrit Dynasty is that God, that's one of the good ones. Fuck. I have to let chat tell me.
Solar Fury. What does Solar Fury do? Add 3 inches to the range. Characteristic of ranged weapons, excluding pistols.
Range extended.
Model, it makes a range attack. That the unit was in half range. The AP is increased by 1. When the Protocol of the Vengeful Stars becomes active for your army, if every unit in your army, excluding Dynastic Agent and Satan Shard units, has this code, you can select both of that command protocol's directives instead of just one. Okay, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense with like his spam of anti-infantry shooting. Gives them all that additional AP, lets them, go beat stick even on some elite troops like that. Really cool.
Oh, it increases the volume of fire's deadliness. Like, it's a volume of fire with a little eliteness to it, like. Yeah,
because I think Gauss Flares are AP1 already now. So they got some AP changes in ninth. Let me double check that. Yeah, so they're -1. So having all of that rapid fire be -2 is pretty nice. Gets rid of cover saves, stuff like that.
It's fucking dirty. That's a dirty list, man. And so this guy went 3-0. He did have to play some strong opponents. He did have to play Teddy Woody, who was that 5th place Death Guard list. And so the only reason I mentioned it, because it's 5th place in a 12-man RT, it's like, why would we even mention it? Well, he went 2-1, and his only loss was to the Necron player. So the guy who won the event was this guy's only defeat, which knocks him down in the ranking. That's why like 3-man events are a little bit harder to see the real story, because like the championship round starting round 4, round 5, that's where the pack starts to you can finish your 3rd game pretty low in the pack and then climb back to the top.
Yeah, RTTs are a little weird. Like, I have gone to RTTs many times and gone undefeated and gotten like 3rd place, just how points work out, or like you'll go undefeated but like not play the person that ended up winning the tournament because of like how the Swiss pairings and stuff works. Like, you kind of need that at least like a 4th round to kind of shake things out.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the Orc player,
oh yeah,
got 2nd place. He also went 3-0, and they did not play. So obviously in the 4th round, these guys would be playing each other, and we could speculate on who would win. So what's this Orc army all about?
I think last week we talked about that Orc army that was really popular at the start of 2020. Like, it was played by a lot of Orc players at LVO start of 2020, where it's just like all buggies, spamming those buggies. It's a lot of fun to play.
Scrap jet spam.
It's not like hyper optimal, but it's fairly good for like if you want to win more than you lose. And
yeah, you can really win primary pretty effectively in that list.
So this is very similar to that list. So he's got 3 of the custom booster blasters, 3 Megatrack scrapjets, 3 shock jump dragsters, a cannon wagon, and 2 of the flyers, the Blitzer Bomber and the Burner Bomber. And then the rest of his army is filled out with infantry. So he's got like 2 units of Storm Boys, bunch of units of Grots, couple units of Commandos, which are good for infiltrating and all that fun stuff.
Commandos are real
boss on Warbike, and yep.
What clan?
So let me double check the detachments. The Outrider detachment is Death Skulls, which, if I remember correctly, is everybody gets like an invul save.
Wait, are they the objective secure ones on command? Which one's that one?
Maybe. I'm pulling it up. Lucky Blue gets. Oh, they have a 6-up invul save. In addition, you can reroll a single hit roll, single wound roll, and a single damage roll for each unit. Each time it shoots or fights. In addition, infantry units with this culture gain the This Is Ours Zog Off ability, even if they do not have the troops battlefield roll. So all of the infantry in this army is OBSEC, even if it's not a troop choice.
Yeah, which is really good for commandos.
Yeah, and giving the orcs like that 6-up invul save, like having a save is better than not having a save, even if it's a 6. So that's pretty handy. And then he's just like all of those buggies doing what they do. Like, the scrapjets are pretty beefy. They hurt in close combat. The booster blasters, they burn around. They've got okay shooting. And then like the shock jump dragsters are fun. They can teleport and they have that cool like
like these buggies don't have a lot of teeth. They have some teeth though, but what they have is insane board control and speed for dominating primary and secondary objectives. Like they're huge.
Yeah, so
the bases are
on
huge.
paper, this list is fairly easy to pilot, like in a general sense, but it has a lot of like skill ceiling to it, which is one of the cool things I like about the orcs. So, if you just shoved all these buggies in their face and then have your infantry just like sitting tight and, hiding in terrain and like doing what they do. He's got a bunch of Gretchen for Grot shields and all that type of stuff. Like pretty cool. He's got the flyers to be able to get behind you and do bombing runs and, all the fun stuff flyers can do. Pretty interesting orc list.
It would be a pretty interesting matchup, this versus the Necrons, because he's got a lot of bodies, got a lot of tanks. The Necrons have easily the firepower necessary to really fuck up that more limited infantry base in the Orc army easily, even though he's got kind of a limited base because he's put so many points into those 2 beastic characters. But it's very specialized. Those beastic characters, like as Wyatt put it, are the vehicle fun police.
Oh, yeah.
They're just going to be tossing fucking buggies.
He would look at all these buggies and just be like, oh, yeah. Mushrooms. It's what's for dinner.
And pretty much point and click, split fire like crazy, really efficient shooting, and really just take out orcs left to right. But they're going to be, but they do have a lot of that 6-up saves.
There's a lot of orcs in this list. Like it's not going to be that like odd table you by the end of turn 2. It's just got too many models.
The big question is how big is that Tomb Blade squad my man has, that Necron player has?
The Tomb Blades. It's a small squad. It's a small one. I think it's like the minimum unit of 3.
So he's got a lot of shots coming from a lot of different vectors. He's not going to just be able to table the infantry base, but
he's got 4 units of Necrons or Necron warriors, excuse me, all with the Gauss flares. So it's like 20 shots of Gauss flare at EP2 coming at you. So
I think the Orc player can do it, man.
Works.
At first I wasn't sure, but like I think that's the nine buggies, man. If he gets a good,
I think this is a really close matchup.
Yeah.
On paper, at least. And so like player skill and like strategy would depend a lot, but he's got the Praetorians. They're a good close combat unit. I think their rods have like a pistol shooting that's pretty nasty. And then, with his 2 big bads, he's going to be picking up a lot of models. Yeah,
I think the Orc has enough distraction element with those buggies that I think if he plays it smart and just feeds him those buggies and just ties things up for, I think he could actually pull it out if he stays really focused on his secondaries and that action. And he can keep.
Also, I really like the commandos in this list because it gives the orcs a way to like forward deploy. I know that the Necrons have an ability to like basically do a jump movement pregame with one of their infantry units. I'm not sure if that's tied to a dynasty or whatever, but I know they have the ability to do it. And infantry troops can Yeah, so like having those commandos forward deployed, like they might get eaten up first turn, but it stops him from being able to do that first turn like right into your face because like you have to maintain 9 inches or whatever.
True. I think a lot of Necron players kind of hold it in the bag, use it late game, redeploy, take your backfield. So it's depending on the player skill of the Necron player. But at first glance, I thought it would be like kind of a beatdown. But I think this would be a really fucking tight game going until round 4. Well, these two would have to face off. Which is interesting because the third place army, who went 2-1, he lost to the fourth place Space Wolf army, was Ultramarines, but he was playing like an OG Ultramarine list, right?
Yeah. So like, this is a pretty bog standard Ultramarines list. Like it has all the, the greatest hits. It's got your Tigurius. You got a chaplain in there doing what he do. Incursors for forward deployment. He's got some intercessors in there as well. Primaris Apothecary does what he does. Redemptor Dreadnought, pretty solid unit. 2 units of Victrix Guard. An Inceptor squad. Inceptors are super good for Space Marines right now.
I think people are taking them in 5s?
Yeah, 4s and 5s. So in this unit, 4. I've seen other people do 5s.
5s, yeah.
Inceptors are really strong. Like they're super strong right now. And then he's got like 2 units of Devastators. And he's doing OG Grav Cannon. So he's probably had these models for a long time. And they're all like, if I were to see this list, I would assume that he's going to cluster these guys around Gilliman for all those sweet rerolls. He's got the Apothecary. He's got the Victrix Guard to keep Gilliman untargetable. All of that fun stuff. And a really solid list. Like, it's not to my play style for Ultramarines because I don't think it's as flexible as I would want it to be, but this is a really solid list and he did well with it. So can't hate.
Mm-hmm. Now, going into our final segment, it's let's talk about the 5th place Death Guard army, like I said, who only lost to the Necron player, piloted by Teddy Woody.
Right. This is also a very interesting list because a lot of people talk about how OP Morty is, but ironically, a lot of top players are saying, like, we don't need him. We don't want him. He's not good enough. He's too expensive. So this list is really interesting because no Mortarion. And also, he's using a lot of a unit that a lot of other people say is no good, which are Death Guard Possessed. So, again, I mean, like, if I were to take a wild guess, he probably had a bunch of these from the previous edition, like a lot of Death Guard players, and wants to keep using them because their stat line is very solid. They're just not as like crazy hardcore as they used to be. But he's got a ferryman detachment with a plaguecaster, 3 units of 10-man possessed, and then a unit of Death Shroud Terminators. And then he's got the Fetid Virion. So if anybody missed that, like the way that the elite characters in Death Guard works now is you can jam 3 of them into one slot. So he's got the Foul Blight Spawn.
Lieutenants.
Yeah, so he's got the Foul Blight Spawn, Noxious Blightbringer, and Tallyman. The Blightbringer is taking the Fugaris Helm and the Droning to cut down that movement ability. Foul Blightspawn does what he do. He's taking the Arch Contaminator on him. And then he's got Revolting Stench Fats on him as well. And then he's got a Mortarion's Anvil detachment with a Lord of Contagion, 2 units of Poxwalkers, and 2 units of Blightlord Terminators.
Man, lots of tough. How big are the Terminator squads?
They're 5-man.
And the Death Shrouds are 3?
Yes. Well, yeah, you can. I don't think you can add more to a Death Shroud. It's like 3 and only 3.
I think you can go up to 6.
Okay. I thought it was 1 and 2, but okay.
Possibly. But either way, what he's got a thick infantry base with some sweet auras popping off. He's got things that can just deep strike in when it needs to, jump out objectives, and he can come across the table with something really hard to interact with that gets really strong. As it gets closer, as the contagion auras bounce around, he's got 3 different play companies engaged to access the different sets of stratagems. So he's playing a pretty complex Death Guard list that has a lot of flexibility in what it can do. I like it. And, he went 2-1. he lost to just the Necron player who went undefeated. And it shows that, like, some people are doing really well without Mortarion in their list. And, like, when I see all those Blight Lords and everything, I'm like, man, I wish I could afford 2 units of Blight Lords.
Yeah, they are really expensive, and like they're super tough. So like the Blight Lords are one of their best units, even though like offensively, like their power is in the close combat phase, so their shooting is like kind of poopy. But the way he's got to kit it out is what I would consider fairly optimal, where you've got a flail in there, like the large flail for the Terminators. He's got a Blight Launcher in there as well. Everybody's got the axes, which is, you know, it's debatable between like the new sword profile and the axe profile, but I would skew towards axes myself. But yeah, each one of those units, 210 points. So they're hefty. But if you have heard guys like TJ Lanigan talk about how to play Death Guard, and guys like Brad Chester, they've already talked about like Poxwalkers, filling up your troop slots, and then like focusing on Terminator units, because our Terminator units are exceptionally good. And I like this list. It's pretty cool. I like having some shooting capability. So I like the Demon Engines a bit more. But, you know, when you're moving fairly quickly with these possessed, you've got a bunch of...
And you're focusing on the objectives. I mean, he focuses on
the objectives.
Yeah, he's got a lot of... Yeah, he's clearly, you know... He did well, and I would love to see what would happen in the championship rounds. You know, what were you saying, Rob?
I think, I did want to make the point. You know, this kind of harkens back to something I've been experiencing personally, and it's actually very relevant points wise. So I play Custodes because, you know, I have a small brain and I can only keep track of so many rules at once. But like, I've been experimenting with their big ships because they're big and they're dope and they're forge roll and when they shoot stuff, and you can jump a dreadnought out of an Orion and assault things, because why not? That's cool, right? But then I realized, how the F am I holding objectives? So it's like, you know, when you play a four objective or a 6 objective, and, you know, it's rough because you need to be on like 2 or you got to have more. And you're like, well, first of all, these guys are slow. I mean, but they're going to move.
You're like, dog, I only got 3 units. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
I got 20 models. Like, I got to wait, how many objectives? And I'm like, and meanwhile, the Orion's flying around. And I'm like, so it's the same thing with Mortarion, you know, because like an Orion's 500, Ares gunship is 450, you know, so it's like, I really want to bring them because they're dope and fun. But like, I really need like 3 squads of 3 dudes, just objectives. No
doubt. I mean, and so that's what's interesting is like all this hubbub about Mortarion's OPness. You know, a lot of the top guys are posting lists up and results up without using them. You know, and here's evidence from a 12-person RTT with an interesting win record, interesting combination of units, which brings us into our you know, more of our 40K speculation to talk this week is Ravenwing attack bikes, OP, Mortarion, MIA. So attack bikes kind of the talk of the town right now, right? Like at least Ravenwing attack bikes for their point efficiency. The attack bike stuff is like a lot of people started jumping on those after the big hullabaloo of Eradicators has kind of died down. So when you look at offensive capability, defensive capability, mobility, and points, attack bike is, you know, better than an Eradicator because like they're the same points cost right now, 45 points. Right? You have to go 10 points more for the multi-melta, so 55 points. But I would say having the ability to move 14 inches and have that extra wound is well worth 10 points, right? Yeah, and toughest 5, even though that doesn't always matter, is the first one of the first one.
Eradicators are T5.
Oh, they are also T5.
Yeah, they're Gravis armor.
Oh, that's right.
But you get that extra wound and you can move 14 inches. They're super speedy boys. You can take them in units of 3. So the like 3 units of 3 is really strong when you look at the points efficiency of what they can do. And then when you talk about the new codex with Dark Angels, where they are Ravenwing, so they're going to get that extra 3 inches of movement to go 17 naturally. They can auto advance.
Natural 17.
Yep. And then, the Ravenwing have that ability to like advance and then still shoot other weapons as if they were assault weapons. They have stratagems to buff that stuff. And if they advance, they have the Jink rule, which gives them a 5-up invul save. And then on top of that, there's a stratagem to buff a unit of Ravenwing to a 4-up invul save if they have activated Jink. And then the Dark Angels are the only people that have an apothecary on a bike. So he's zooming around with those boys, healing them up, giving them feel no pain, resurrecting one if it goes down. And what did we say it was? It was like
points. It's 100. If you do the meta version of it with 2 multi-meltas and the free heavy bolter,
yeah, so
it's like 155 per unit.
Yeah, want that heavy bolter for Hellfire Shell,
and also your first ablative casualty.
Yes,
stuff like
too. 465 for 9 of them.
Yeah,
so
seems doable.
Stupid points.
Stupid fast. Board coverage crazy. I mean, even if they're all clustered around an apothecary, like in a defensive, like anti-alpha strike position, that movement characteristic they have, plus their 6-inch turbo boost, they can be like here hidden, defending against bombardments with like 6-up fatal pains and healing D3 wounds, and then they can instantly go a billion fucking inches and just beyond every fucking objective and shooting still because of that 24-inch range and that multi-melta, plus their natural ridiculous movement characteristic. It's an incredible cheat code for these Dark Angels and these Ravenwings. Like, they are going to be a bit of a concern if you go into events and Ravenwing starts to get real popular. You got to start thinking about how you can interact with 9 attack bikes with multi-meltas.
Yeah. I mean, like, so the question is, like, are they OP? And, like, I would say no, not really. Like, they don't have, like, a crazy amount of toughness or a crazy amount of wounds. They're a unit of 3, so when you start dropping them, like, their offensive capability goes down pretty fast. And yes, they do have an invul save, but only one unit can have that buff, and they have to have activated Jink, right? So there's conditions to that. And they're bikers, so they can't have transhuman, right? So you're never going to have that situation where you have to interact with the dreaded transhuman. And their invul save is like, it's okay, right? Like it's relatively okay. It's not a great one. So volume of fire with the weapons that like to damage them.
The big concern is they're 4 wounds, right? So
yeah, they're 4 wounds,
which means like 2 damage and 3 damage is the same shit versus them.
Yeah.
So what you're looking for is a lot of shots in the 2 damage profile, because unless you do have something that does 4 damage, 2 damage is 3 damage. So, you got to think about how you, like, what kind of weapons you're going to have in your army, because that not only is, like, obviously you can interact with that unit as Wyatt stated, right? It has incredible amount of firepower. It can touch you every turn of the game with DPS. It can generate incredible board position and board control and start contributing toward the primary objectives instantly, while also hurting you instantly. So it's the conversation of, like, is it OP? If all attack bikes across the board had this profile, yeah, that's fucking OP. For 155 points, if that's just what attack bikes were, 17-inch move, they can move like 20-something inches, they all had fucking Jink, like, yeah, that'd be a fucking concern. But the fact is this is a Ravenwing cheat code. This is... Yeah,
it's like it really starts getting up there with Ravenwings. Like, if we're talking about, like, Ultramarines, the same unit, or, Blood Angels, like, cool, still really good, but they're kind of a glass cannon because they don't have an invul save, right? You go into like Salamanders with their Melta shenanigans, they have a higher offensive output, but they're lower defensively. So it's really the Dark Angels that give them the ability to have that staying power that you want from units like that, because like when you only have 3 models in that unit and you start clipping guys out, like their offensive capability goes downhill real fast. And they're not invincible. I mean, even with the 5-up invul save, like, just think about like some basic unit choices, right? Like a 10-man heavy intercessor squad with their assault 3 bolt guns, right? 30 shots going at them, right? If just 15 wounds go through, that's the whole unit. They're dead, right? You have to do 12 wounds to that unit, and there's lots of stuff that could do 12 wounds to a unit like that. So you just have to prepare for certain things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. I mean, the thing is, they're hard to kill. There's undoubtedly, like, a lot of people are talking about them. So they're not OP, but it is important to, like, conclude this discussion with something we mentioned earlier in the after hours, which is price tags, right? GW has a tendency to put points out that are real spicy, right? And they may make the cut. Like, Eradicators, when they dropped, we're like, this is OP, this is too much, the points is wrong, and then they raise the points like a pittance. But, like, now that, like, it's kind of all settled down, it's like, no, they're fine. They're not busted up, but, like, you get
I'm glad they didn't super knee jerk that too, by the way.
Me too. And I was a little critical of it, but now, like, got to remember, it's better to not knee jerk things. GW is addressing points like way more regularly than they used to with the field manual.
Yeah, that's one thing we talked about earlier. Is like it's my hope that we are going to get a points FAQ like this at the top of every month, right? Even if it's very minor changes. Like, it may not affect your army at all. Like, with this February one, there were 90% of the factions did not get a points change whatsoever, right? But that is out there. And so it's my hope that this becomes a thing. So, some people would say, like, oh, it's too fast. But I go back to what I just said. Not everything is going to get updated every single time. It might be one unit in your whole faction that gets updated, or your faction may not get touched, right? Like, I don't think Space Marines had one. Death Guard didn't have one, right? It was very, very minimal, small changes here, but it's the ability to month by month have these small balance changes that we could use, and having an ability to rapidly update these points values is good for game balance, because it gives them the ability to touch on things that they wouldn't be able to otherwise, because stuff falls through the cracks with this very slow publishing cycle that they have. So if they're like, okay, well, this last month, like, attack bikes are everywhere. They're kind of overperforming. Everybody online is kind of whinging about them. Like, maybe we should revalue that. Like, are they where we want them to be, or are they undervalued? Like, let's hike those points up.
Which is the segue to, like, the comparison, right? We mentioned this in the after hours. It's like GW just needs to start comparing units to units that already exist, and that maybe they'd have a better baseline for the points, so both things are true, right? So I want them to do what Wyatt's saying. That's dope for a healthy competitive scene, right? To have, like, our tournament field manual update more often. That's not a problem for anyone who regularly goes to tournaments. We desire that. Well, simultaneously, you can mitigate how much of a swing is going to exist there every, first Monday of the month as well in our hypothetical. If you just started looking at other units, GW, that you have, like, the biggest, like, most egregious example of this in recent memory was the Speed Freaks release, which we talked about earlier, which is dope ass, sick new models across the board. They were leaking rules. They were fucking had tons of rules, lots of crazy things. And before we even knew a point, we were having to speculate and guess. And we're looking at units that have, like, that move super fast. They're only toughness 6 vehicles with only a 4-up save. They don't have that many wounds, but they move super fucking fast. They have a lot of bullets, but those bullets hit on 5s. Oh, they can punch you in close combat, but they hit on 4s. Like, all this stuff. You're like, okay, these are pretty cool. Now, we had to guess the points. And the only thing, what we do, because we're logical humans about this, is we discussed the Razorback, the Space Marine Rhino upgrade, right? Is a fucking 10 wound vehicle that moves 12 inches, that's toughness 7, has a 3-up save, that has, like, an assault cannon on it, that has, like, 6 shots, strength 6, hits on 3s, AP 1. We're like, okay, so this is pretty similar to a lot of these fucking trucks, right? A lot of these new fucking buggies, right? It's got more toughness, actually, more armor, more wounds, moves a little bit slower in some situations, but can transport models, and has 6 fucking high strength shots that hit on 3s. We're like, just based on that and the points of the currently existing Razorback, there is not one truck, like, based on the rules that had leaked at the time, that should be more points than this Razorback, in my opinion. Right?
And then all of them were.
And all of them were like 30 or more points fucking more than that Razorback.
They're all over 100 points by a pretty wide margin.
So that's GW, that's all you do. The attack bike's the same situation. I'm not saying you have to fix the points just yet, but, like, the other example we used today was, like, which Wyatt can speak to more accurately, with changes to his army list and points and how that relates specifically to an attack bike for 155.
Right. So, like, we getting all the Death Guard stuff. a while back, and you know, a lot of people were talking about, like, I had conversations with Don Hewson about the Blight Haulers, because they're like my favorite unit in Death Guard. I love those little Roomba things. They're so much fun, right? They were 100 points a pop, and that was, to me, fairly reasonable. They were exceptionally good at the time, right? And we get our new Codex. They're still very a solid unit. On paper, they're very solid. On the table, they take a lot of damage. They dish out some damage. Like, they're a solid unit. But I think there was a bit of an overreaction on GW's part, because we went from 100 to 140, and we lost some things and gained some things. But I think the things that we gained did not warrant a 40-point increase, right? So we lost Feel No Pain, but we got -1 damage, which is like cool for some things, really poopy for others. Like, and most of the time when somebody is shooting at a monstrous creature / vehicle type unit, they're going to be hitting you with large damage things like a las cannon or a multi-melta.
Yeah, -1, as we've discussed at length, -1 damage is great until you start getting into like the 4 or 5, 6.
4. Like, ooh, cool. It becomes D6 +3. Like, it's pretty heinous in that amount, right? So that's a trade-off, right? And then we got the new weapon profile. So we have a multi-melta and a missile launcher. So we have 1 missile shot, or you have like D6 frag shots, which are kind of lame. And then you have the 2-shot multi-melta now, whereas before it was only 1 shot. So it's like a multi-melta is 10 points. So, you know, if we lost our defensive capability, but got the same offensive capability as an attack bike, that's a 10-point upgrade for that attack bike. Why is our thing kind of nerfed but increased by 40 points?
Yeah, we're talking about a squad of 3 attack bikes for 155. 1 crawler is 140.
It's 140.
This unit has 4 melta shots, and 3 heavy bolter shots, and like 12 bolter shots, and moves 17 inches, and can hide easier. Can literally fucking take feel no pains, heal wounds from apothecaries. In that context, I believe that's the Ravenwing rule. They work on attack bikes, right?
It also has that unit also has a 5-up invul save, for doing what it does. And then the difference between getting a better invul save is that for the Ravenwing, you spend 1 CP to do that, right? And it's on 1 unit. So we can have a 4-up invul save on 1 unit, but the way that it works for us is we have to allocate an entire relic to a character that then has to follow them around, and you have to select that during the command phase. And so I would argue that the resource burn for us to have 1 unit with a 4-up invul save is much greater than 1 CP, because you're always going to regen 1 CP every command.
And not only is it a greater resource drain, it's because
relic. Now
it's a person's entire existence is to do this with that point resource, right? It's also the relic resource, but it's also the fact that there's a fail rate now, right? There's a guy that has to exist for that to occur, right? Which can be removed from you. And then one of the cool things about haulers for Death Guard is they're one of our faster units, right? Thank you. So, that's actually your fast attack unit. That is like your shooty fast attack platform. That is your attack bike. That's your Death Guard fucking attack bike.
Yeah. And so our characters, other than Morty, not very fast. Like, even our Demon Prince with wings, he got nerfed down to, I think it's only like 8-10 inch movement or something. 10 inch movement. The same. Yeah. So like, then if you want a character to be able to keep up with those guys to use their full movement values, then you have to do a Demon Prince with wings, which is even more expensive. Like, a Demon Prince with wings is almost as expensive as an entire unit of attack bikes, and it's just a Demon Prince.
I think a Demon Prince with wings is more expensive than 3 attack bikes. Like, if wings and a sword, I think your dude's
he's like 170.
Yeah,
something 175, 180, somewhere in there.
So I'm not saying that the points of the attack bike are wrong. What I'm saying is that take a look at other units, because you might also discover other things. Like, if the attack bike unit points is correct, which I kind of think it is, then take a look
I don't think it's heinous at all.
Yeah, then take a look at other things that are kind of similar. And you're like, we went kind of hard to paint with that 140 price tag, guys. Right. You update it on the first Monday of the month, like that regular reoccurring points update on the field manual, and you say, let's just hard pendulum real quick. Let's go back to its original point cost of 100. Let's just see what happens. And then
because it's like I would say that other things need a reduction and then like the attack bikes can stay the same because I think they're reasonable where they're at. They're fine. But then you look like mathematically. So if I want to take a unit of 3, it's like almost 400 points in and of itself, right? And then for 465, you have 9 attack bikes, 3 different units, and I just have 1 unit of blight haulers for what is it, like 420? So then you get into that, and it's like, well, what if I want to have multiple units? Well, then it's like 840 on top of that. So that's like half of my army almost. So it's like if you bring that down a little bit, you know, like I do think they deserved a little bit of a points increase from 100 because they were a little too good at 100 points. I think like 110, 120 is where they should have been because 140 is a bit too much.
Yeah, as we move forward in this future, hopefully GW gets a little bit more willing to do that, like, and they have in the past, you know, and they are doing it more frequently now. And I do think we are moving towards your hypothetical future. Even with Rob's army, right? Your -1 to hit banner, right?
Yeah.
What was it? 0, then 30, or?
Oh yeah, it was
20, then 0, then 30 or something.
So it started out 30, then it went to 0, and now it's 10. But I think the model itself that you put it on also went up 10. I'm actually not sure at this point.
So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, on the other side of the coin, right? So it's like less so from negative, but more of a positive. Doing something like this allows them to help out units that are kind of dead on arrival. Because with the recent Space Marine stuff, we've had 2 units that have really, really cool models and pretty cool rules to go along with them, but they're dead on arrival because their points are just wildly overcosted for what they do for you. And that's the Gladiator variants and the Storm Speeder variants. So it's like you have this awesome brand new kit that you want to get into everybody's collection. And like when you look at these models, like they're cool, right? Like I'm a tank nerd, so I like the floaty tanks. Like the Gladiator is dope, right? Like the Storm Speeder, it's a dope looking model. Then you're like, the cheapest Storm Speeder is like 150, 160 points, and then goes up to 175. And you're just like, man, I don't get anything for these points. Like, it's
especially
not a very
when you
good unit.
compare it to a unit in your already existing codex.
Yeah, and so it's like,
hence these attack bikes at 155.
They have like the Melta variant of the Storm Speeder, right? That has like the triple barreled Melta, and that's sort of like kind of does the same thing as you want a couple of attack bikes to do, but it's like 170, 175 points, and it's only like a T6 model with like 6-7 wounds on it. So it's like, why would I invest so many points into that one thing that it's just going to get gadded super fast, where I could have like 3 attack bikes that do better.
And that's what we mean. Like, let's get some updates on this field manual, which they are doing. And GW, please just start comparing units that you already have in your line to each other, and especially if they're like similar roles, similar ideas. Just look at where the points already live in your rules edition, and see how they're doing. And that'll give you a better baseline to start at, so that we don't have to go from 140 back to 100 back to 120. We can go from just like the first adjustment is fine, you know. Mitigate the number of adjustments with this concept.
AKA feel badsies.
Attack bikes OP, Mortarion MIA.
There it is. We did it. I think.
Did we?
There's no Haspil here, so.
No, but we do have one rodeo clown.
We do.
With clown shoes and all. I got some nice red Nikes.
You do. I've seen them. Love them.
Next convention, I'm gonna bring out the clown shoes.
We should all get red shoes.
You can't be that cool.
What if we all get like cool rodeo belt buckles?
No, that we can
have
do.
the long wear on them.
I feel like you gotta be. Don't you have to be cooler for a sick belt buckle than red shoes?
Nah, there's only one red shoe per crew.
Oh, it's like the fedora.
Yeah, it's
fedora rules for red shoes. Got it. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. So you got to give me this one thing. There'll be something else.
You gave me the fedora for like 4 years. I respect that.
It was adorable.
Is it fedorable? Okay. Let's get out of here.
Welcome to Wyatt's dad jokes. Okay. All right. Well, that was it for this one, y'all. Make sure you head over to thelongwar.net. Become a veteran of the Long War today.